If only we could always remember that the present moment is here and now, always. But we get preoccupied. Speech is silver, silence is gold. The silence is not an awkward moment, a pause between something smart or wise. The wisdom lies in the silence. In the presence. So I have this really, what I really just had to express how wonderful this quote is. Waking up is an endless losing what you think you know, like a wave of destruction that leaves nothing but what is true. Waking up is an endless losing what you think you know, like a wave of destruction that leaves nothing but what is true. Can you hear the surrender in that? Can you hear the letting go? Something needs to be destroyed. All that is not true. All that is illusion. All that ultimately does not resonate with your true being, with your natural self. Now, I was sitting in a meditation at home here some time ago, and suddenly the words "voice of the silence" came up out of the blue. And I was, of course, thinking about the book Voice of the Silence by Blavatsky. It's rather profound. And it is covered in analogies and mystified language. So we kind of have to decode it a bit. And also, even though it says certain things, then it can easily be misunderstood. So let me share a little bit here for you. before the path is entered, thou must destroy thy lunar body, cleanse thy mind body, and make clean thy heart. Oops. You must destroy your lunar body, your astral body. That sounds pretty rough. And you must cleanse your mind body. Oh, but that must not be destroyed. That's funny. And then you must clean your heart, make the heart pure, which is you're genuine, you're honest. So these should be seen as not as direct as it could easily be interpreted. But every time we sit down, we basically have to destroy our lunar body and make the mind body clean or pure. So it means we just destroy the disturbance of the astral body. We destroy the disturbance that comes out of, all our desires or anxieties, stress and worry. That is what needs to be destroyed. It's not the astral body as such. And the mind has to be cleaned. Yeah. It has to be empty. So that the finest wine can be poured into it. You don't pour the fine wine into half full old containers, right? You make it clean first. And so the next sentence, before the mystic power can make of thee a god, Lanu is like disciple, thou must have gained the faculty to slay thy lunar form at will. Here it is laid out a little more clear that you have to, at will, be able to destroy the lunar forces, or that you have gained enough clarity and awareness to see objectively the powers of the emotions, so that they are not over-empowering us, but rather they are seen for what they are. They're just little bundles of energy moving about. That's it. The self of matter and the self of spirit can never meet. One of the twain must disappear. One of the two must disappear. There is no place for both. Oh, this also sounds very rough. Like, God, the ego has to die and only soul is left, right? That could be interpreted like that. But we could also interpret it as a coming together, a marriage between the lower self and the higher self. That the heaven is incarnated onto the earth, and soul is incarnated into the personality, rather than the personality being crushed. But of course this serves as an interpretation depending on who you are and what you need. Some people may need to hit hard on certain aspects of themselves in order to progress. But we will always say that we want to integrate things. We don't want to push away anything. We don't want to make an enemy out of aspects of ourselves. So if there's anybody, anyone who needs to slay something in yourself, it is your own will to no longer believe in what is fake and not true, what is illusion, but instead hold fast to what is true, what is genuine, and what is permanent. And here's a lovely one. Thou canst not travel on the path before thou hast become that path itself. Wow, isn't that beautiful? So here we are thinking that we need to go somewhere. Here we are thinking that we need to travel from A to B. We're on this path moving forward. But really, when we boil it down, when we go to the core of it, the path leads nowhere. So you cannot travel the path before you become the path yourself. Think about this. Why am I not progressing? Why is everything so difficult? Why do I experience all these problems? Am I born under a lucky, unfortunate star? No. Quite contrary. It is the path. It is what we need to go through and see for what it is and what it isn't. And stop being attached to our negative perceptions of what seems to be the problem. So this basically sums up what we talked about earlier. The path leads inwards. It doesn't lead anywhere. It leads to greater and greater field of awareness, deeper and deeper consciousness, more and more expansive love and compassion. And none of that comes from anywhere but yourself. So here's an interesting quote. The golden tree puts forth its jewel buds before its trunk is withered by the storm. The tree produces its most precious flowers, buds, before the tree itself dies out or been knocked over in the storm. Meaning that it is important to do what is necessary while you still have the strength. Do not wait. Do not wait another day. Use the time you have now. It is now you have the strength. Tomorrow it may be too late. Once the tree is knocked over, it's over. So, very important message to what is it called in English? Is it, they say, cast while the iron is hot or something along those lines? Like you do the work while the iron is warm. This is very deep. And this is not meant as a judgment. Rather, you should feel it as an urge within you. And you are in the Bodhisattva school, so you have a calling for this path. A calling to reveal what is true within you. So why wait? And in here, it's not like, oh yeah, I'm not practicing and I should start practicing. Or I should practice more. It's not just that. It's also, how much time do I give to my thoughts? How much importance do I give to stuff? Compared to how much do I give importance to presence? And we can be present not only in meditation, we can be present when we are with other people. The pupil must regain the child state he has lost before the first sound can fall upon his ear. The pupil must regain child state that he has lost. This means that we must let go of our shame. Children has no shame. They are straightforward. They don't know what is right and what is wrong. They do what is natural. Only adults tell them, oh, you should be ashamed of yourself. You must not do like that and blah, blah, blah. It is the adults who feel shame. They have lost their child state. So children, they can do what is natural, and we cannot, because we are molded. Our mind is functioning in those structures I talked about, running on rails. It can only think in one way. The mind saying, yes, but, I know, but, excuses. But the child does not have excuses. It's present. Yeah, it has beginner's mind. So when the child state comes back, the first sound can be heard. And here we are reading from the book Voice of the Silence. So the sound here is, of course, the sound of silence, or the unstruck sound, anahat, unstruck sound. It's the sound that is, or like they say in Zen Buddhism, the sound of one hand clapping. How can one hand clap? Doesn't it need two hands? Well, let go of your mind and sit with that. This would be the Zen instruction. Now the next one is a little longer. The light from the one master, the one unfading golden light of spirit, shoots its effulgent beams on the disciple from the very first. Its rays thread through the thick dark clouds of matter. The light of the Spirit shines on the disciple from the beginning, from the very beginning, even through thick clouds. Now here, now there, these rays illuminate like sun sparks light the earth through the thick foliage of the jungle growth. So, a little story about how the light pierces the most dense in our life. But, O disciple, unless the flesh is passive, head cool, the soul as firm and pure as flaming diamond, the radiance will not reach the chamber. Its sunlight will not warm the heart, nor will the mystic sounds of the Akashic heights reach the ear, however eager at the initial stage. If we take it from the back, however eager at the initial stage, we know of this eagerness. Oh yeah, I'm so excited. This spirituality is so cool, and I feel like this is me, and this is really awesome. This is great, and I think I'm already progressing, and it's going good. But that eagerness, it quickly fades out, and then what? The honeymoon is over, and you're faced with the thick, dense jungle of your own mind, your emotions, your life circumstances, and life seems like even worse than before you began. But nonetheless, the light is shining. The light is shining even through the thickest jungle. But, O disciple, unless the flesh is passive, unless you discipline yourself enough to sit down and be quiet as you can, this is all that is required. The head is cool. Well, the head becomes cool over time. Like Marietta shared, head is cooling. Head is cooling. It's not jumping on the train just right away. It sees through the patterns. It sees that, thoughts are passing phenomena. I don't have to follow them. The soul as firm and pure as flaming diamond. What is your motivation? What is your deepest desire? To get from the meditative practice, your spiritual practice, your spiritual orientation of life. What is your deepest desire? Recognize it. And let that light of your soul shine forth. Let it determine your path. I trust in your path. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here. So unless flesh is passive and the head is cool and the soul as firm and pure as flaming diamond, the radiance of the spirit will not reach the chamber. The chamber of your inner temple. The cave of your heart. From where truth springs forth. And its sunlight will not warm the heart, nor will the mystic sounds of the Akashic heights reach the ear. However eager at the initial stage. So listen to the equanimity that is required, the waiting, the patience, the resilience to continue the practice. Not because you want to go somewhere, not because you want to accomplish something, or you want to be something. No, it is much more severe than that. We're not supposed to become anything. Like the first quote I read to you. Waking up is an endless losing of what you think you know. Like a wave of destruction that leaves nothing but that which is true. So, it's for some reason this theme is something I've always kind of postponed. And maybe Lena has talked about it. I'm not actually sure. Or I'm quite sure actually she has talked about, the nada, for example, nada yoga, listening to the inner current, the sound that you may hear in your ear, but a sound that cannot be heard or registered by anybody else or anything, any apparatus. So it's a sound that only you can hear, and not everyone can hear it. And it doesn't mean that you are not advanced or well, let's not even talk about being advanced, because this already tells us something which ends up becoming a trap. But it doesn't mean that you are not on the path. But the voice of the silence refers to the inner sound, which you may hear. And that sound is the sound or the frequency of various levels of consciousness and energy. So basically we can hear the sound of our root chakra, for example, or hear the sound of your sacral chakra, hear the sound of your solar plexus, hear the sound of your heart, and so on. And I haven't even come to anything like recognizing what sound belongs where. I really don't care. Rather, the sound becomes increasingly subtle, which means that it requires more concentration, more awareness, more presence, deeper consciousness, to listen to the most subtle sounds. And these sounds in the end will supersede or be superseded by the one sound that annihilate all the other sounds. So there's a progression of sound building up until there's silence. And I invite you to listen. Listen to the silence. Because as we do, the mind becomes passive. Or your attention is engaged, which makes the mind more quiet. And so here we find that things could potentially come together. And suddenly you find yourself, whoa, no thinking, peace, expanded awareness, with no real effort, just, listening to something that is not even there. Or maybe you don't hear the sound, that's what I mean. You may hear something in your ears. Maybe it's tinnitus. Maybe you think it's tinnitus, but it's actually nada. It's frequencies. Frequencies of energy, vibration, consciousness. So listening to those sounds attune you to those levels of frequency. And so the more we listen, the more refined the sound becomes, the more refined our concentration becomes. Until a point where it's not the sound that is important. It's the state of awareness. It's the depth of your presence. What do you say that we spent the last time we have together in meditation deep? We have 10 more minutes, so it would be suitable for us to finish with sitting with all this we talked about. Not so much pondering it. I understand your silence, and it is deep stuff. So let's just absorb into it. My dear friends, let yourself settle on the pillow. Let the dust around you, whirled up by your movement and on all the levels, both movement in the physical and movement in your mind, emotions. Let the dust settle. Feel how, when all the dust is settling, all there is your own beingness and presence. As the dust settles, feel your soul commitment to awaken, to be natural, to be yourself. Give thanks to your body. Give thanks to the planet, which gives you life and sustenance. Give thanks to the breath for relentlessly filling you with vitality. Give thanks to the present moment, which is always with you. Om Shrim Shri Guru Pyo Namah.